I'm Melissa Melnick. I'm a pastor and a teacher and a mom and a friend and a daughter. And I'm doing this bike ride in memory of my son Chris. He was 22 and set to graduate from the University of Minnesota. And on April 25th, 2017, Chris was lost in the Mississippi River. And he was lost for 10 days. He was found May 4th. And while he was lost in the river, Chris had actually been planning to work for Wilderness Inquiry and then take a bike ride down the Mississippi River from Minneapolis to the Gulf of Mexico when he graduated. And when he was lost, I decided that either in celebration with him or in memory of him, that I would ride the Mississippi River Trail. So Chris was a neurobiology major with a minor in Spanish and sustainability. And for Chris, sustainability meant a lot of things. In probably about 2013, he went with a group of University of Minnesota students to New York City for the Climate March. And he was just so impressed by all of the people there, and it was so important to him to be there. He wrote poetry and he led chants, but one of the things that he learned when he was there was that he couldn't just go to a march. He actually had to change his life.
And Chris was a volunteer lead with us for our University of Minnesota group. We're going to go on. Last year, you may, for those who were here, we went on like half of a ride that Chris had organized, the northern part, and this time we're going to go kind of on the southern part of a ride that he organized for us. It was a bridges ride because he loved the river and he loved the bridges, riding over the bridges. And I do want to note, Chris led on work to make it safer and easier for people to bike around the U, and some of the things that he worked on are going to be installed next year. And so I think about how much he left in terms of how he touched everybody with his love and kindness, and also how his activism lives on in the work and improving the lives of others, which is what he was focused on doing. And so I'm excited to think about that. Is planning this ride, and we're going to stay along the river on trails. But with his work, in the future we could do a ride on bike routes that he helped work on up on the streets. And I think about that for the future, and I'm going to think about him every time I ride on those.
I used to tell Chris that he would be a preacher, and he is. Chris is still a preacher through his words and through the words that I have the opportunity to share. Chris wrote this poem called "His Bus is Fueled by Love" on his way to the Climate March in New York City in must have been 2013. But I think it just really speaks to his spirit and to a big reason why I'm doing this ride. So he wrote "This bus is fueled by love," and I changed it to "This bike is fueled by love." This bike is fueled by love, shared by all the people of the world, colored green, wide like the sky. This bike is fueled by love, raining from the clouds they try to put above us, but the clouds always pass. This bike is fueled by love, these people live on kindness, they always share a smile, they always shine so bright. This bike is fueled by love we can prevail, this is how to start a movement, by love we cannot fail. Chris was about love, and the way we share love of nature and of just human beings is by being in relationship with each other. And so having a supported ride will help me to share his voice of his words, because he was a loving, beautiful young man. And so I want to share some of his spirit and some of that hope and light that he just seemed to have within him. First of all, I'm hoping people will bike with me, whether it's 10 miles a day, one day, or an entire week, or the whole journey. And I'm hoping that youth groups or civic organizations or whoever will go out and clean up the river as a way to welcome me and whoever is biking with me, and as a way to be good stewards of the river and of creation. What I need for the ride? Well, money. Yeah, that would be fabulous. One of the things I want to do is rent an RV, and that's how I can be supported, and then also support people who might be riding with me. It's going to be about an 8-week trip, so I would prefer not to camp out every day and then, to have that available. Apparently I will need a lot of protein bars and things like that, and energy drinks, bike clothes, and so I do have a U-carrying site set up. I really would love people to pray for me along the way and join me. Biking partners over the summer, and people to come and bike a few miles even on the trip. And so that's the plan. I'll leave on Labor Day and take about 8 weeks and preach and teach and learn and listen along the way. And Chris was all about love, and so share some of that love that Chris was that Chris believed in. So the only other thing that I would say is thank you to everyone who's walked with me during this last year, and I have been supported and loved and uplifted in so many ways. I've told the people of Tapestry, my congregation, that the Bible tells us that our tears will, oh boy, I'm really terrible at this, but our tears will be changed to joy, and that I believe it, but I have trouble figuring out how that happens. But through this journey and with all of the love and support, I have moments of joy that come to me because of my community, and we say we're one body in Christ, and this is just a way that we live this out, and that you help me to live this out. And so I give thanks for everyone who's walking on this journey and biking on this journey with me. We are so grateful for your support. The Facebook page will have trip updates, Chris Stanley Memorial Ride products, and ways to donate online. Any donations not used for the bike ride will be used for the Chris Stanley Fund for Sustainability. This is a fund that will continue the work and vision that Chris brought to the world, our community, and our city. Thank you again for coming along with us.